Have you ever just like stopped and thought about how much of what you do every day is like totally on autopilot?
You mean like brushing your teeth or driving to work without really thinking about it?
Exactly. Or even like deeper stuff, like how you react to certain situations or even the way you see yourself. It's almost like there's this whole other part of you running the show behind the scenes.
You're hitting on a really profound idea there. The idea that there's this vast subconscious mind that influences so much of our lives. And get this, it's believed to control something like 95% of what we think, feel, and do.
95%. No wonder it sometimes feels like we're not totally in the driver's seat.
Right. But here's the really fascinating thing. Long before modern psychology even started exploring this, ancient cultures were already aware of the power of the subconscious, and they even had techniques to work with it.
Okay, so that's what we're diving into today, right? Ancient techniques for reprogramming the subconscious mind. But before we get into that, can we like take a minute to just define what we're even talking about when we say subconscious?
Yeah, for sure. Think about it this way. Your conscious mind is what you're using right now to listen to this, to think about what we're saying. It's that part of you that's aware of your surroundings and makes decisions.
And the subconscious.
That's like the massive storage system underneath. It holds all your memories, your beliefs, your habits, even those fears you didn't know you had, and it runs all those automatic programs in your life.
Like a computer program running in the background, shaping our reality without us even knowing it. So how do these ancient cultures even figure out how to tap into this hidden world?
Well, they didn't have fMRI machines or brain imaging, but they were incredibly astute observers of the human experience. They developed practices based on deep intuition and I think a connection to something larger than themselves.
Hmm. Okay, so that brings us to like the million-dollar question. How do we actually change these deeply rooted subconscious programs, especially the ones that aren't really serving us anymore?
Right. And modern science is actually catching up to what these ancient traditions knew all along. We now understand that the brain is incredibly adaptable through something called neuroplasticity.
Neuroplasticity.
Exactly. It means the brain is constantly forming new neural connections and pathways. And that means with the right kind of input, we can literally rewire our brains and, by extension, our subconscious minds.
So ancient wisdom meets modern science. Okay, let's get into the actual techniques. What did these ancient cultures do to reprogram their subconscious?
Well, one of the most powerful methods they used was visualization and mental imagery.
Like just picturing what you want.
More than that, it was about creating a deeply immersive mental experience. For example, in ancient Egypt, the mystery schools used visualization to prepare initiates for higher levels of consciousness.
Right.
And Tibetan Buddhists have been using visualization practices for centuries to cultivate compassion and wisdom. The idea is that by repeatedly visualizing a desired outcome, you're essentially imprinting it on your subconscious mind. You're training your brain to see it as possible and to start working towards making it a reality.
It's like mental rehearsal for your life. Right?
Exactly. And it's something that modern-day athletes and peak performers use all the time. They visualize themselves winning the game, nailing the presentation, whatever it is they want to achieve.
Makes sense. Okay, so we've got visualization. What else?
Another really interesting technique is the use of mantras and sacred sound frequencies.
Yeah, chanting and stuff like that.
Right. But it's deeper than just words. Ancient cultures understood that sound has a powerful vibrational energy that can influence our state of being. Take, for example, the Vedic tradition in India.
Okay.
They've been using mantras for thousands of years. These are specific sounds and phrases that are believed to have a transformative effect on the mind and body. And then you have Native American cultures with their drumming and chanting ceremonies designed to connect with the spirit world and promote healing.
So it's like the sound itself carries a certain power.
Exactly. And there's even a modern theory called the 432 hertz effect, which suggests that music tuned to the specific frequency might be more harmonious with our bodies and might even enhance our ability to access deeper states of consciousness.
Whoa. Okay, that's pretty trippy.
Yeah.
But also really cool. What other techniques did they use?
Well, have you ever noticed how your mind starts to wander and get creative right before you fall asleep?
Oh, yeah, totally. That's when I come up with all my best ideas
Yeah.
or my worst anxieties.
That's the hypnagogic state, the twilight zone between wakefulness and sleep. And ancient cultures, particularly the Greeks and the Egyptians, believed that this state was a direct gateway to the subconscious.
Because our conscious mind is kind of shutting down.
Exactly. And they use this time for all sorts of things, from seeking divine guidance to planting the seeds for positive change in their lives. They even practiced lucid dreaming, which is basically becoming aware that you're dreaming while you're dreaming and then being able to control your dreams.
Whoa. Lucid dreaming, that's some next level stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got visualization, sound, and harnessing that pre-sleep state.
Yeah.
What else?
Mirror affirmations were another really powerful technique.
Mirror affirmations.
Yep. It's pretty simple but incredibly effective. You basically stand in front of a mirror and repeat positive statements to yourself, focusing on the qualities you want to cultivate or the changes you want to see in your life.
And this works because...
Well, some believe that looking into your own eyes while you're affirming these positive things creates a powerful connection with your subconscious mind. It's like you're bypassing your inner critic and speaking directly to the part of you that believes everything you say.
That's interesting, almost like self-hypnosis.
Yeah, kind of. And it was a practice that was especially important in ancient Egypt. They even believe the pharaohs used mirror affirmations to reinforce their divine right to rule.
Fascinating. Okay, any other techniques we should know about?
Well, we can't talk about reprogramming the subconscious without mentioning the power of the breath.
Breath work.
Exactly. Ancient traditions like Qigong in China, pranayama in India, and Sufi breathing techniques all recognize the profound connection between the breath and the mind.
Yeah, when I'm feeling stressed, taking a few deep breaths definitely helps.
That's because your breath is a direct link to your autonomic nervous system, which controls things like your heart rate, blood pressure, and emotional state. So by consciously changing your breathing pattern, you can actually shift your emotional state and influence your subconscious mind.
So to recap, we've got visualization, mantras, and sound frequencies, utilizing the hypnagogic state, mirror affirmations, and breath work. That's a pretty amazing toolkit for taking control of our subconscious minds. But it also sounds like a lot to try and incorporate into daily life.
You know, it really doesn't have to be overwhelming. The beauty of these techniques is that they're actually pretty simple to do.
Right.
Even just taking a few minutes each day to practice one of these techniques can make a big difference over time. The key is consistency. Just like working out a muscle, the more you train your subconscious mind, the stronger and more responsive it becomes.
So start small, pick one technique, and stick with it.
Exactly. Maybe you spend 5 minutes visualizing your goals when you wake up in the morning, or practice some deep breathing before bed.
Great ideas. So just to sum it all up, we've spent this deep dive exploring how ancient cultures understood the power of the subconscious mind and developed incredibly effective techniques to work with it. Techniques like visualization, using mantras and sacred sounds, tapping into the hypnagogic state, using mirror affirmations, and practicing conscious breath work.
That's right. And these ancient practices are not just interesting historical footnotes, they're still incredibly relevant today. They offer us powerful tools for self-transformation and for creating the life we truly desire.
Really cool stuff. Now here's a challenge for you listening right now. Tonight, as you're lying in bed before you fall asleep, take a few minutes to visualize something you really want to create in your life. Really feel it, see it, and believe it. Or maybe try a simple affirmation in the mirror tomorrow morning. Just notice what shifts in your mind, in your energy, and even in the opportunities that start to show up in your life.
Yeah, give it a try. You might be amazed by what you discover about the incredible power of your own subconscious mind.
And that's our deep dive for today. Thanks for listening.
Until next time.